Welcome Ice Cube and O'Shea Jackson Jr. to the Wall Street Journal. We're talking about the new movie, Straight Outta Compton. You star in it, you produced it. So tell me, why is now the right time to tell N.W.A. story?
Well, you know, we're better as producers now. You know, it's like we've honed our skills for 20 years to get to a point where we could tell this story and tell it right. And you know, I think the interest for, you know, N.W.A. grew. We did a couple of different documentaries that piqued the interest of the studios, and they were ready to bring this story to the big screen.
Of course, N.W.A. is one of the most important groups in rap. You're in the group, Dr. Dre, EAZY-E. You play your father in this film. Yeah. What kind of tips did he give you on how to play him?
Be myself. I already have so many of his, you know, mannerisms and things like that already within me that it's really about not acting, it's about making it real. And him and Gary Gray, our director, you know, he got me the coaches I needed, and it was 2 years of auditioning before I even got the role, so I was more than prepared.
I'm just trying to get home. That's my son. You need to get back in the house or I will ruin your night. I gotta talk to my moms like that.
Now, one of the running themes of this movie is police brutality. We see you and your bandmates often accosted by police, and police brutality is very much in the news these days. What do you think has changed since 1988, when you guys, N.W.A., put out the song F the Police? Has much change in the culture?
Not really. You know, I think what's changed is that people can record it now. You know, it's the camera phones, the social network. I think people can see it happening, you know, as it's happening. And I think that's heightened everybody's awareness that this problem has been going on since before we did Straight Outta Compton. You know, the watch riots was in '65. Behind police abuse, and that was way before I was born. So, you know, it's been a constant in our community, and I think it's time to hold these officers accountable.
Now, I want to know, what kind of dad was Ice Cube? I mean, I can see this going two ways. He can be a guy who lets you do whatever you want, or he's a tough disciplinarian. Which one was he?
Strict but fair. You know, he's definitely reasonable, you know, as long as nothing is too crazy what you asking for, you know, shouldn't be scared to ask. So, you know, just always ask, he's there to talk to, strict but fair.
But you watch a film like this, you see N.W.A. get into all this trouble back when they were younger. I mean, do you think to yourself, well, Dad, why are you doing anything to me for staying out late if you were up to all this trouble back when you were my age?
Well, you know, he was bringing home the bacon at that age, so, you know, he got a little bit more freedom.
And were there any scenes in this film that were difficult for you to sort of relive on screen? I mean, what scene really stands out to you as something you look back on it, you see it filmed again, and you think, man, that's tough to take?
Oh man, seeing EAZY-E in the hospital, you know, being diagnosed with HIV and AIDS, that was tough. Just going through that whole section of the movie, it was hard. You know, a lot of the guys who worked on the movie that was in the group, you know, couldn't watch the scenes when we were shooting it. They had to leave off set. We were cutting deep and trying to bring out raw emotions and just trying to let the people know what we went through.
Just hit that first beat hard. All right, you cruising down the street. All right.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
Hey, that was dope, eh?
Because EAZY-E was a member of N.W.A., was HIV positive, passed away young. What do you think he would have thought of this movie, seeing his story on the big screen?
Oh, you know, we thought about that a lot. So I think we did everything we could to make him proud. You know, I think he would love the movie. I think he would really be into the movie because, to me, it goes further than most biopics. You know, this is a movie where you can laugh, cheer, and cry. And that's the kind of movies that he used to like. And so I know he would love Straight Outta Compton.
Your songs, they glamorize gangs and drugs.
Our art is a reflection of our reality.
You know, back in the day when N.W.A. was sort of, you know, releasing its albums, it was seen as controversial. You know, some people call them sexist or gangster rap. But today, it seems most people sort of accept it, and it's sort of part of the soundtrack of their lives, and they look back with nostalgia on their work. What do you think when you hear your dad's stuff, when you hear N.W.A? Do you still see the controversy? Do you still see stuff that leaps out at you? And what do you think when you go back and listen to old N.W.A stuff?
Well, N.W.A, not all their songs were, positive, but they always spoke the truth. And, sometimes the truth is ugly, the truth hurts. Nothing that they were talking about was made up or fiction. So I don't look at it with any kind of controversy. It's just them reflecting what they saw every day, what they would encounter, and things like that.
And how did you get cast in the role? I mean, with your dad producing, was it like were you just given the role? Did you have to go through an audition process? And what happened? How did it work?
Yeah, I went through a 2-year audition process, going through hundreds of cubes, and even then getting to a point where there was a chemistry test, and that's where Universal makes their decision. There's 2 other cubes there, 3 Dre's, so the competition was always on, but he would always let me know, in all these auditions, you got to pump that nobody knows him in and out like I do. You can have an actor do their research on YouTube or Wikipedia, whatever they got to look up, but I've been doing 20+ years research on my characters, so it's just they want that authenticity. You can't get more authentic than me.
Now, if you hadn't gotten the role, if you hadn't gotten cast as your father and some other guy got the role,
I would have went crazy. When he first asked me, the 3 things went in my mind. You can either sit in a theater and watch somebody else do it and not feel like it's up to par, or you're not feeling it. Number 2, you can get it and mess up and embarrass yourself for the rest of your life, or you can knock it out the park. So, definitely wanted number 3.
Now, I know you're back in the studio. You were back in the studio with Dr. Dre, one of your fellow members in N.W.A, of course, gone to become a huge producer of all sorts of things, and he's back in the studio, got a new album out, Compton. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, I think, he was very inspired by working on the movie. He would, come to the set and then hit the studio after the set, and he said, man, I'm producing something that's inspired by the movie, and I can't wait to hear it all put together. I did a song with him called Issues.
One thing I find interesting is that in the movie, you see how the surroundings in Compton help fuel the fire of N.W.A and of Ice Cube and of Dr. Dre and fuel their creativity. You obviously, with a famous dad, a well-off dad, came up a different way. So what fuels your fire? How do you continue the legacy when you don't have that kind of fire to begin with in terms of your upbringing?
Well, that's a challenge that I think all children, born like second generation Hollywood or things like that, they all face to find that same fire that their parents had. But I just use my family. I've been seeing my father work hard forever, and why should it just stop there? I used my siblings to help fuel me to get the role, and everything is really just to help build onto this empire that he started to make it a Jackson thing, a beyond Ice Cube thing. So, it's my family is really my fire.
You're listening to Compton's very own Ice Cube, EAZY-E, and Dr. Dre.
In the movie, we see a beef kind of build between you and EAZY-E after you leave the group. And of course, there's another sort of beef going on, a much friendlier one between, Meek Mill and Drake. You've been listening to the songs, and what do you think of what's going on?
I've heard a few. It's classic hip hop. I love it. I love the beefs. It's how hip hop came into the forefront. I grew up with LL and Kumo D going at it. So beefs is a part of hip hop. It's great to see guys spar on the record. The key is keep it on the record, because that's hip hop. Once you take it to the streets, that's something totally different. So as long as they keep it on the record, it should be fun.
You want to declare a winner between Meek Mill and Drake, from what you've heard?
I mean, right now I think Drake is winning, but that don't mean Meek can't write something and come back. That's what it's all about.
And you're also working on developing a number of projects, including a Welcome Back Kotter project. What's the status of that right now?
Oh man, that's in what's called development hell. We been trying to get that off the ground for years. But my next project after Straight Outta Compton will be Ride Along 2 with Kevin Hart, and we just did a Barbershop 3. So. We got a few things coming, but right now it's all about Straight Outta Compton, August 14th.